So before we get started, I just want to take a quick second to drop my links. This is my link tree. It'll take you to my merch stores, my podcast, the link to the Twitter page, Twitch, all of that. Just go check that out for me. And the second link that you'll see on the screen is the Twitter link of the artist that's responsible for this dope thumbnail that I got. They also have a Ko-Fi. Go support them. Thanks. So what's in a song? Well, besides words and music, as you probably just sarcastically muttered to yourself, there's usually a lot of things that go into a song composition. The instrumentation, the tone, the lyrics, the theming, tempo, all that cool stuff. But everything coalesces into some of the most impactful and recognizable songs, not just in the franchise, but in gaming as a whole. And Sonic is no slouch when it comes to absolute bangers. Overall gameplay quality notwithstanding, because some of these games are the big mid, but across the 30, soon to be 31 year history of the character, which one of these songs stands on top of all the others as the definitive, that's a Sonic, that's the Sonic song? Let's find out. Let's take that dive into Aquatic Mine. It's not Aquatic Mine. I didn't include stage themes. Yes. Old Faithful, the first stage, the infinite beginning. I'm gonna keep it a stack, man. I'm so tired of seeing Green Hill Zone remade anytime like a game like Generations or Mania or the all A rank rewards you get in Sonic Adventure 2 or Neo Green Hill in Sonic Advance 1 or Sunset Hill in Sonic Advance 3. Or Sonic 4. Alright, man, there's been a lot. You get the point. But I'd be lying, honestly, if I said this wasn't one of the most iconic and recognizable tunes in the franchise and possibly gaming as a whole. Like, the shit runs at a crazy 148 BPM, and it's definitely the kind of track that you want to turn into an anthropomorphic blue rodent and run at Mach 3. Like, just listen to the song, man. It's crazy. But it's also really energetic. And, on top of being fast-paced, it really complements the type of game that Sega set out to create in 1991. From the time you hit the start button and those first 16 notes hit, you're in for a fast, fun, frantic dash for that goalpost. Just listen. But does it really define the character? Well, yeah and no. In the 90s, sure, this is like the de facto Sonic character theme, right up there with something like Mario's World 1-1 theme. And it was so impactful that the 16 iterations of Green Hill Zone across 12 different games is definitely earned, as the stage and the song definitely represent what Sega and Sonic succeeded in doing in their first outing, which was to dethrone the aforementioned plumber from home console supremacy, earning this place in history, of course. But as a series-defining theme, I gotta say no. While the song is good, it's relegated to a single stage. It doesn't really fit well over any other stages, and it does nothing to express the characteristics, emotion, growth, or thoughts of our favorite titular character. There's no lyrics, which is no fault of the song or the composer, and more so the fault of hardware limitations and the game scope in general at that time. But the name of the video was the definitive Sonic song, and in my opinion, with all due respect to the song and the stage, this is not the definitive Sonic song. Next. 2006 was an infamous year in the Sonic community, man. It was the 15th anniversary of the franchise. PS3 and 360 were just hitting their strides as the next-gen consoles of choice. Most mascot platformers not branded by Nintendo had fallen to the wayside by this point. Things like your Spyro, Crash, Bubsy, and a bunch of others who didn't even get sequels, let alone next-gen releases. Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic, infamously parted ways with Sega midway during development of the anniversary title. Then the remainder of the team was split in two due to contract obligations to Nintendo for an exclusive game, on top of having to meet a release deadline. Everything should have fallen apart, and it more or less did on the developmental side, but somehow the music traditionally came out unscathed, and Zebrahead delivered one of my personal favorite main themes with His World. It should be noted that at this time, Jun Sonoe, the previous sound director, who we'll get into later in the video, wasn't in charge of the sound direction this time. No, that honor goes to Tomoyo Otani, who had an affinity for adding orchestral pieces into his compositions. And honestly, 15-year-old me was not ready for what Zebrahead was about to drop on the world. The song was composed with the original team vision in mind. I mean, it's widely accepted now that Sonic 06 was supposed to be Adventure 3 by the use of its hub worlds, the general game scope, and multiple playable characters like there were in Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. And you needed a song that could encompass a grand adventure, and His World does just that, man. After the orchestral piece, we get blessed with guitar riffs, rap rock lyrics, and a chorus that ties everything together in the end. A musical staple that stayed with the franchise thanks to the adventure games and Jun Sonoe. This is the first of oddly very few main titles that, in my listening experience, are sung directly about Sonic. The first verse does a great job at explaining what Sonic is all about.
Come on, let the fuse, he's a rocket and he's ready to go. Cause now the countdown has started and he's ready to blow. He's got the dope sounds bumping and his stereo. Go fast, putting on the show. Don't wanna get yourself together, there's no time to rest. And if you put the time in, he'll put you to the test. He's like a running man, in his world more is less. And if you wanna test him best, bring your best. So make you spell it out, bring your best.
A point that the chorus does an excellent job driving home. The song is great, and it keeps the tradition of no bad soundtracks alive and well, but even with it describing Sonic, it was written as a song specifically for this game. Considering 06 was an anniversary game for the new platformers and a new generation of gamers, the intention was for the franchise to be rebooted with this game for longtime fans, and a launching point of the franchise for the newer players that just got started with something like Sonic Heroes or this game. Hence the game just being titled Sonic the Hedgehog. His World is a great song if you're new to the franchise, as it's describing this larger-than-life hedgehog and the adventure he's about to go on. But that's just it. It's describing this adventure, how we should view Sonic here and now in this particular game. His World is amazing from a compositional standpoint, but as the definitive series song, it'll have to stay tied to its world of Sonic 06. Next. 2005 to 2007 was an extremely dark time for the Sonic franchise, man. You had 3 games that, while they were financially successful, were absolutely toasted by critics and fans alike. 2005 Shadow the Hedgehog was a fine exhibition in character assassination. Sonic 06 left nothing but destruction in its wake, And Sonic's first outing on the Wii was marred by clunky controls and on-rails gameplay. Nothing that Sonic had tried for the 3 years in a row, and more importantly for 3 games in a row, had seemed to work. But the franchise was still alive. Sega still wanted to make new games, the numbers showed that people were still willing to buy the new games, and the real possibility was endless. See what I did there? That's a little hint towards the song. But enter the main theme of 2008's Sonic Unleashed, Endless Possibility. The song is special in a number of ways, the most obvious of which is how reflective the lyrics are of the team's mindset at the time, as well as their approach to a new game.
This is my escape. I'm running through this world and I'm not looking back. 'Cause I know I can go where no one's ever gone and I'm not looking back.
On top of being incredibly energetic, the lyrics are really hopeful, inspiring, reinvigorating, all that positive shit, which is what Sega and the Sonic team needed to be if they were going to keep this franchise alive. They crafted an entirely new HD engine specifically for this game that would go on to be used in others. The boost formula that started out in Sonic Rush was refined to arguably one of its best iterations in the series. The new mechanic of the werehog, opinions aside, was a first for the team and something they were really confident when they were first implementing. Morale and hope for the future of the franchise was at an all-time high, and the song, specifically the chorus, accomplishes 2 major things. The first of which is giving us an insight into Sonic as a character. After countless adventures, countless hardships, literally dying in the game that should have killed the franchise, I mean, really, you can't craft better symbolism than that, he still goes on into the future, into the next adventure with unshakable hope, with the knowledge that no matter what happens, he can always come out on top, no matter how dire the situation is. The second is a bold declaration of confidence from Sonic Team. Everything in this game was crafted to give players an all-new experience. With Sonic, this was their redemption game. New engine, new gameplay style. This is the first console game with the boost formula that was introduced 3 years prior in Sonic Rush, like I mentioned before. Confidently introducing and implementing the werehog mechanic, again, setting your feelings towards the night stages aside and listening objectively. Everything in here was an exploration of a possibility with a character whose recent track record would have obliterated any other gaming franchise and pushed Sonic to grand new heights. Speaking personally, this song means a lot to me because around this time I was going through like a super depressing part of my life, and seeing my favorite video game character go through his BS at the same time perfectly mirrored my experiences. So to have a new game in the franchise that was built up and executed flawlessly, in my opinion, to be headlined by a song that talks about never giving up and anything can change or everyone can be redeemed, and having that reflected by a shiny new Sonic game was nothing short of incredible, man. The other thing this song does is showcases the timeline of Sonic games as well, with a happy beginning that is reflective of the game's timeline. The first part, i.e. Sonic 1 through Sonic Rush, being the great times, as evidenced by the part of the song that I played a couple of minutes ago. The heavy break in the middle, symbolizing both lyrically and sonically, get it, the tumultuous times the franchise had been through from Shadow the Hedgehog up until Sonic and the Secret Rings. All the way back to the final chorus, which really brings the hope back up as the down-tuned instruments go back to their original key. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, I still get emotional when the last refrain of the chorus kicks in.
I see it, and now it's all within my reach. I see it now, it's always been inside of me.
Honestly, man, like, the song is amazing, and it was a hard toss up between this one and the song that actually won out to me, but it's a really specific song. Even with it being, taken as generally as I decided to translate it, it's still really specific to Unleashed. The song ebbs and flows between high and low notes. It's kind of the duality between the hedgehog and the werehog, which is a mechanic exclusive to this game, but it always holds special value to me on a personal level, man. As somebody who's grown up with the franchise since its inception, and I've gone through my own ups and downs and overcome them all, and I'm still hopeful for the future. Next. What can I say about Live and Learn that hadn't already been said? I mean, if I were to do a community poll of which song everybody thinks defines the series or is the best one, I'm almost certain Live and Learn would win in a landslide due to Jun Sonoe and Crush 40 putting out absolute slappers for the franchise spanning nearly 2 decades. Luckily, this is my video, so I get to be biased. Live and Learn is an obviously amazing song. It's really a top 5 Crush 40 song for me, as well as a top 5 Sonic main theme, otherwise it wouldn't even be on the list. 2001 Sonic Adventure 2 introduced my favorite character in the franchise, Shadow the Hedgehog, who broke off from the character staples at the time by having a much darker backstory and generally introducing some much needed and well metered edge into the series. Like, seriously, up until this point, the character with the darkest backstory was probably Knuckles, like him being the last one of his race, living on a floating island virtually alone with the single-minded goal and purpose of protecting the Master Emerald. Shadow, on the contrary, was created in outer space with no real human interaction outside of 2 people, one of whom was his creator, Professor Gerald, who goes batshit crazy and ends up creating a weapon of mass destruction to get revenge for Shadow's only other real friend, Maria, who was a young girl who Shadow witnesses getting absolutely murdered after sealing him in a case and sending him to Earth, where he crashes, gets amnesia, only to be awakened 50 years later to the fact that his creator had been executed by the government, all while he was powerless to stop him due to being sealed underground. Dark stuff. Live and Learn is a very fitting title for the main theme of this game, as most of the important players in the story have some sort of major heel turn from a character standpoint. Dr. Eggman, out of necessity to save both the world and everybody aboard the Ark, ends up working with the heroes to save everyone in the final mission. In the end, he even questions his grandfather's motives, which makes him question his life and motivations. Live and Learn. Shadow, who had sworn revenge on humanity and worked with Robotnik to take that revenge, is swayed by the friendships he formed with Rouge and eventually Sonic to being directly responsible for stopping the Ark from crashing into Earth, thus saving humanity and everyone else on board and the space colony. Live and Learn. And Sonic, who up until this point, everyone and everything that was hell-bent on world domination was considered evil to him. Robotnik, Metal Sonic, Chaos, the enemies are just enemies, and that's it, until he met Shadow. Even though they fight multiple times throughout the game and are at odds until the colony starts to float to Earth, he and Shadow reconcile their differences, save the Earth, and Sonic even realizes that Shadow isn't inherently evil, and laments the fact that he couldn't save him, because at the time, Adventure 2 was supposed to be the final game of the franchise, so Shadow's death would have been permanent. But anyway, Live and Learn, directly reflected in the first verse, which is the live part of the song.
Can you feel life moving through your mind? Ooh, look like it came back for more. Yeah. Can you feel time slipping down your spine? Ooh, you're trying to ignore. Yeah. But you can hardly swallow your fears.
And the second verse, which is about learning, get it, to handle what life throws at you and to always be adaptive to whatever situations come.
Tangle you up inside. Yeah, now you're face down on the floor. Oh, but you can't save your sorrow. You pain and trade. When you can't help but follow, it puts you right back where you came.
Culminating into one of the catchiest and probably most thoroughly played choruses in the Sonic franchise.
Live and learn, hanging on the edge of tomorrow. Live and learn from the works of yesterday. Live and learn, if you fail or if you borrow. Live and learn, you may never find your way.
Again, Live and Learn is an amazing song that tells the story of a specific adventure within Sonic Adventure 2. Could it apply to multiple games? I'm sure that argument could be made, but subjectively speaking, anytime I hear this song, it just takes me straight to Sonic Adventure 2, man. It was that good of a game, that good of an anthem. Live your life, learn from your mistakes, and improve. Next. So let's go into the theater of our minds real quick and imagine that it's 1998 again, or 99 if you live in the US. Sega has a new console dropping, touting 3D graphics, a new state-of-the-art sound chip, and a stellar launch lineup, including your favorite Blue Rodent mascot. You see the commercial advertising the $9.99, infamously, the very first iteration of Sonic in full 3D. Sega was making a bold statement with their upcoming hardware and finally bringing their mascot platformer into 3D after Nintendo struck first with Mario in Mario 64, which came out in 1996, and Zelda Ocarina of Time the same year that Sonic Adventure originally released in Japan. Something had to be done. Something needed to be said about who the top platformer was. The new scope of not only this Sonic game, but future Sonic games needed to be clearly defined by this revolution of the mascot platformer. And what better way to do it than by not only using actual instruments, not only collaborating with an up-and-coming band who would go on to make some of the series' most notable songs, not only setting the scope and scale for 3D platformers while breaking new ground for the character and franchise. No, it's not enough. They had to drop this absolute banger of a track and opening sequence on us. I'm gonna let the whole sequence play out just so you can feel how confident Sega and the staff was to bring this franchise into 3D. Open your heart to the intro, man. It's fucking beautiful. Holy shit, dude. That is a company that is confident in their fucking game. Oh my god, bro. Crush 40 absolutely nailed that track, by the way. The tempo of the song is just absolutely perfectly fitting for a character based around speed. It's 158 BPM, really gets the blood moving and the heart shaking like you're having fucking palpitations out on the dance floor or in the pit. The lyrics, although they're kind of cheesy, but I mean in a charming way, because let's face it, all Sonic main themes are pretty cheesy, but we all still sing them out whenever we hear them. Really lets you know what's going down, not just here, but what's happened up to the point in the history of the franchise as well.
Thunder, rain, and lightning, danger, water rising, glamour, sirens wailing. It's a trick sign. Shadows of dark creatures, steel clouds floating in the air. People run for shelter. What's gonna happen to us?
With a bridge that introduces us to our hero coming over the horizon to stop all the calamity and chaos brought about by whatever eldritch god he decides to fight this go-round.
All the steps we take, all the moves we make, all the pain at stake. I see the chaos for everyone. Who are we? What can we do? Doing all the same way that we have our own style that we won't change. You're the filled with evil and lies not there is no way I can lose.
All coming together in a chorus that shows the direct struggle between Sonic and not just Eggman, but Chaos and anybody else who threatens the safety of him, his friends, the planets. It's immaculately put together. I mean, the high-pitched riffs going from basically what I consider to be like Sonic's lines, and then the lower-pitched riffs going into his thoughts. It's just, boy, it's so good.
Hold on much longer, I will never let go. I know it's a one-way track. Tell me now how long this will last. I'm not gonna think this way. Nor will I count on others. Close my eyes and feel it burn. Now I see what I've gotta do. Open your heart, it's gonna be alright.
Like, the best part of it all is like the song is like incredibly ambiguous. Like, seriously, I could hear this song at any point and like it just relates to every single adventure Sonic has had since the beginning and since. Like, from start to finish, it highlights some key features of the franchise and Sonic as a character. Something goes wrong, Sonic steadies himself to go against the danger, not having all the answers, but being brave enough to face all the problems. Staying ready to face anything that comes up, no matter how big or small. This is just a game theme or a hero theme, man. This is the song that defines Sonic. It's a song that's as fast and as cool as he is. It's a perfect description of him as a character and the dangers he faces. And really just a titular theme for the series, man. Like, this is the one that started it. Like, to my recollection, there weren't, I don't think, any video games, if at all, that were using like actual real life instruments and bands to play their music and have that same music in the game. So that was a first for me in my life anyway. But back to the song, man. Like, it's so good. Open Your Heart is the definitive Sonic song, man. 24 years later, it still slaps just as hard as the first time I heard it when I was 8 years old. It's the song that will sit at the top of this list that defines both the character and the series as a whole.